Okay, so welcome. So happy we're all here together. Thank God for such a special experience. Good opportunity to transform our Ratzon Kabel to Ratzon Kabel Ashbia, to meet here and learn Torah together and do some creative processing together. So I want to dedicate this class. I brought a little yahrzeit candle. It's my grandmother's yahrzeit today. So I'm going to light a candle. Okay, we'll leave it over with your candles after. So Miriam Bat Isser, the highest Aliyat Neshama.
Miriam Bas
Isser.
Isser.
And so she was Niftara. Remember, last week was my birthday, and whatever, but the week before that is my grandfather's yahrzeit, her husband. So they left the world exactly 1 week before and after my birthday, which was like very significant for me.
The same year?
The 1 year apart. So it was like, and it was a very substantial moment in my life when I was just really establishing myself here. And it was probably right before we moved from the center of the country in Israel up to Tzfat. Very, special connection there. I'll tell one little story since I opened it. So when I started to get interested in coming back to Israel and learning, so I grew up in a we really didn't get much content at all. And my grandmother, Aliyah Shalom, when she saw me becoming interested, she was so affected. I would visit her all the time. I would visit her in high school, like after school, I go just to hang out with her and talk. And every time I would come, she would speak with me and bring it up and talk about it a little bit, how it was very important to her that I was getting interested, because in her life, she grew up religious and had Shabbos and everything. And the way the life in America and the family played itself out, she couldn't really hold it in the family. It wasn't like something that she was able to do as much as she, in her inside, she really wanted to. She shared this with me with tears and stories a lot, many times. And every time I would leave the apartment, she would come with me to the door, and she had a mezuzah on the door, and she'd kiss the mezuzah and cry, and just very special neshama connection there. So I always think about that as like a really, essential part of my personal journey. So I'm sure she has incredible nachas that I'm bichlal in Eretz Yisrael, and that we're here together and learning. So she should really just have tons of nachas and yeah. So Bezrat Hashem, today we're going to continue on this journey of really integrating our learning, the introduction to the Zohar with Rav Ashlag that Yael is giving over so beautifully and deeply. And I don't know about you, but for me, the depth of this type of learning, on one hand, it's like explained in a way, it's like so clear. It's like I get it. And on the other hand, it's like just the tiniest little millimeter, and I'm like, do I get it? Did I forget? What is it? And so I don't know if that happens to you also, but it definitely happens with me. And so part of why I want to share this class, specifically this one, and in general this whole series, is to help also for myself and everyone else who's involved, give ourselves a moment to integrate and kind of think about it and maybe even work with it. So I came up with a little project for us today that is connected. I think it's pretty connected to what we were learning. That's also connected to the Parsha. Do you have this book?
Yes.
Good. I'm so glad. When I saw this book, I was like, Judy better have this book. So it's actually incredible to me how much it's connected, because we didn't actually talk before class today. But I think that there's an incredible connection going on here. We're going to jump into the artwork sooner today than we have in the past. I'm just going to share a little bit, and then we're going to start, and you'll see how we go. Okay, so the Parsha, as we know, is Chaya, and it's the whole story. I'll say outside the beginning of Steinsaltz, this is talks in the Parsha of Steinsaltz, really amazing, incredible, beautiful, available sefer. And I just got it, the zchut of me getting to come to Yerushalayim and go to the bookstore. So outside the beginning of this, what he says about this Parsha is really comparing this Parsha to last week's Parsha. So Vayera is like drama. It's like one thing after the next. It's like, let's go back a little bit more. Lech Lecha, wars, and the Akeda, and like unbelievable intensities of life, right? One after the next. That's what it is. And then we get into Chaya, and it's not like it's not dramatic, but it's suddenly kind of like normal life. It's like when a loved one passes away, you bury them and mourn them, and then the rest of the story that goes on with Abraham towards the end of the Parsha is that he married again and had children. If he wasn't a superstar of the Torah, Avram Avinu, that wouldn't be news. He's a person who had a family, normal stuff. So he's really speaking about in this talk on the Parsha about this two modes of reality where it's like tranquility, life that happens, and this like intensity of life type of mode that happens as well. So I'm just going to kind of jump in the middle and share a bit. He says here, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov uses similar categories to describe two forms of worship. There's calm, tranquil worship, generally characterized of people who feel settled in society. And there's also ecstatic, frenzied worship, characterized by people who do not feel settled in society. Interesting. Yeah. It's worth noting that the first form of worship is not limited to lay people, to balabatim, and the latter form of worship is not limited to yeshiva students. And this is the important point here, how one approaches his relationship with God does not depend on what he's doing during the day, as many believe, but on something more personal, something innate. There's something deeper. The outside descriptions of a person, that doesn't actually make us understand where we're coming from. So here's a description of the pendulum. Sometimes it's precisely those who generally operate in a state of calm who seek out excitement in their lives. And it's those who lead tumultuous lifestyles who seek out calm and tranquility. In any case, even those who seek out excitement often find it difficult to maintain such a lifestyle over a long period of time. One cannot expect to achieve great things without experiencing periods of stagnation and complacency. This reality is rooted in human nature itself. After all, we're not built as one harmonious unit with body, soul, and various aspects of our personalities in complete harmony. If one tries to pull things in one direction, the law governing both the physical and spiritual dictates that there will be an equal reaction in the opposite direction. Rabbi Menachem Mendel Vitebsk, in his work Priya Arts, describes this problem using the example of a pendulum. Okay, everyone knows what a pendulum is, right? Swings. A pendulum cannot move to just one extreme. If it swings far to the left, it must also swing back to the right in equal measure. So it is in the service of God. It's impossible to constantly ascend. Everyone inevitably experiences descents and falls in his spiritual life, each person in his own way. Although there's a difference between, that's the main point that I wanted to share from this part of it, and then we'll jump after further. So what I wanted us to do today, I want to jump pretty directly to making some art. And I really want to connect it to what we were learning just now in the Rav Ashad class. So we have this experience of really, you could call it a battle or a fight in our lives where we're going back and forth between this higher level consciousness that we remember we have a neshama, we remember our higher purpose, and our ratzon to receive it manifests itself, or we even think in the direction of wanting to give, wanting to do with it. And then there's those moments where we forget, and it's not, there's always movement. It's never stagnant. It's never staying in one place. It's one or the other, back and forth. And part of our, I'm sorry, there's someone trying to deliver a package to my house. I'm so sorry. Hello? אתה רואה גלריה זכוכית? כן. אפשר לשים פשוט על המדרגות בבקשה? אני אגיד לבת שלי להביא את זה לבית. תודה. Sorry about that. Okay, I had a feeling that was going to happen. So we have this ability when we do artwork to we mentioned this last week, to reflect on ourselves, right? 2 weeks ago we had with the mirrors, we have this opportunity to kind of get to know ourselves better. Because when we put something out that's from the inside, that's from on a deep level on the inside, suddenly we see it on the outside, and whether we want to or not, or try to or not, we see more of ourselves, and this can come through in such a way that it could come through eventually maybe in a universal way, and even help other people see something in themselves that help them understand themselves. So this struggle to keep going in the right direction, it kind of has to encompass recognizing that we fall, we forget. We're still in the second phase, right? We're in Masav Bet. We're still in the second phase. So as we get those moments of like bright clarity, Gaval, it's amazing. And then 2 minutes later, whatever it might be, the kid is, saying something ridiculous, right? And that fall. So from singing the highest Shabbos nigun to saying something to a sibling that's like beyond. That happens, right? So the exercise that I want us to do today is, again, first, anyone who has paper, take out your paper and paints, and anyone who doesn't, I'm going to pass that to you. We're going to do the first shlav of painting like we've been doing each time. And what we're going to paint now is this, it's just try to paint your ratzon. I mean, honestly, like, I don't know what that means. I'm not going to try to explain to you what that is, but like we've said before, with watercolor, you have this great opportunity. You can just wet the page and just kind of let some colors flow. So the way that I approach this is I look at the colors and right, whatever color draws me, I take it. So my ratzon to choose a color is already tapping into who I am on some, maybe it's a simple level, maybe it's more, I don't know. But take some color, fill the page with ratzon. I'm just gonna do, because we need anyone who has your own paper, you can cut it in half if you want, because we don't need a whole paper, okay? Paper, and there's this one, you need paper here, right? There's one pair of scissors here, I'll pass it one sec. These little water. There you go. Who else needs paper? Pass it down. Remember the side up that's facing up when I pass it, you keep it up. Which side of paper watercolor paper is? Sure. Yes, yes. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, how many more? Everybody has? Amazing. Okay, and then I guess the water we can just take from the pictures. Okay. Oh, you already put them in. Amazing. Okay, so everyone has paper. I also brought more paint brushes. I know there's some down there that are available, but I have more here and also paints. And we're gonna paint whatever that means, ratzon. So it could be like, you could tap into your what you felt like as a child when I wanted, like, whatever it is I wanted. I wanted the tennis shoes, I wanted a dress, I wanted some kind of food. And you can tap into higher ratzon. I wanted to save the world. Whatever ratzon else you can find, go for it. You guys have paint? Right here? What? No, you don't need yours for this. Here's more paint, guys. Make it so it's easy for people to reach paint from any, don't feel like you have to reach far. I brought lots. Okay. Here. There's a pen there also, whatever.
Anyone down there wants a paintbrush?
Does anybody else need brushes or colors?
Yeah.
Okay, there's more. You guys have water? Yeah.
The scissors, please.
Okay.
So we start by wetting the paper?
So yeah, we're going with our technique. We've been working with those of you that are new. We've been wetting the page with clean water, no color yet. And then if you haven't used watercolor paints ever or lately, the way it works, you get the brush wet and you go into the color and you have a little patience. You rub the brush in the color until you see some color on the brush. And then you can touch that color to the wet paper and you'll see the colors kind of flow and just cover your page with, and have in mind ratzon, okay? Just put it on the page. I think this calls for a song. Okay, so go for whatever works for you. I think that by our nature, there'll probably be a little bit of both. Here we'll take our classes.
That's it. Thanks. Is that water? This is water here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just use like this. Thank you.
Sure. Pass that one, please. Tissues are always good, you know. Should I go get them? Take them from the yeah. Yeah, I also meant to put them in the bag.
שולחן 17, תאי חומוס גרגירים. יפו 53 מוכן?
Still stuck with the ads.
You told me that you asked me much like a husband anniversary. You were there. Anniversary.
it. Okay. All right, let's do one more song. You guys still have some room on your page? Or if you filled it up, don't go too crazy, you know. We don't want to make holes in our page. It looks like we could do one more song. Okay, yeah, let's do one more. I didn't. You should.
This is not my own melody. It's a melody I heard from the dynasty of Vision.
Please.
For the first time in my life, I was
Exposed.
I was exposed to שיטת הציור של אדמו"ר האדמו"ר מכאן, לא קרלין, האדמו"ר זה ברח לי. זה אדמו"ר שמאוד מוכר ויש לו חסידים, אבל הם עובדים עם אבל הם עובדים הרבה עם art and painting. And I met this woman at the Beck Alliance. She had a beautiful exposition in kind of art. And she gave me this book about how the art of this Hasidic. You never heard of it?
No, it's so interesting.
Wow, I was sure that
I want to know. No, I want to know. That's
so
amazing.
she gave me this. So she asked me, "Are you an artist?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not known. I don't, but I do kind of everything I touch in my house is art."
Yeah.
So she gave me this little book, and there's a lot of instructions how to get to the art. And one of the things is just not to think about how it's going to look, how it's going to please people, how all these things, just, and when you do a deep work on being in front of the page and just let the soul touch, you can have many.
Yeah.
And I read that on Shabbat, and Mosai Shabbat we had a little following on the table, and it was the book that she gave me, the That's Upside Down, and I started came out something like psychedelic, I don't know what came out from there, but it was amazing to let go, not as that you want to do something, but just let go what part of the Neshama wants to put inside. And when you did your introduction, the first thing I saw, I tried to put it on the paper, not it has to look well or something, but the description was so strong, and now I'm done. I cannot add anything because I'm done.
Okay.
So it was it's not about me, it's about what it meant to me, what you said. So I felt like I wanted to draw like two fire coming one against each other. רצון לקבל, ורצון להשפיע. And in the middle, it's רצון להודות לקדוש ברוך הוא מכריע.
Wow.
That we think that we have a רצון and בחירה, but בסופו של דבר, everything's gonna come the way you
מצב
want it
גמור.
to be. So that's what I felt.
Amazing.
שתי רצונות
יפה מאוד.
ולילה בשני.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so awesome. Okay, so does anybody else want to share before we move on? At this stage, we're kind of in the middle. Okay, great. So as usual, I know it's hard to stop, but you have to stop now. So no more water. I don't usually like to tell people what to do, but no more water. Stop.
No more water.
And now we're letting our paper dry. We have a theme going on here. You guys are getting used to me. Those of you who have been here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
Everything is so beautiful.
yeah, maybe let's just hold up, like each person hold up. We don't have to explain or anything, just everyone can hold up at once and we'll kind of like get a little glimpse of everyone's expressions.
Amazing. Wow.
Okay, you don't have to.
Can I? Wow.
Okay. Amazing.
Wow.
So look at how beautiful Ratzon can be, huh? You're famous. Okay, so we're moving into the second phase of our learning. So we're gonna, like we have done in every class, we're gonna learn while the paper dries, and then we're gonna take it to the next phase. Okay, so we're continuing along with Reb Steinsaltz's teaching here. We had the introduction before, and we're skipping ahead a little bit. It says here, back and forth. Ultimately, despite the ingrained differences in our personalities, there's also an element that transcends personality, namely freedom of choice. Ultimately, people choose their own path, the path by which to ascend God's mountain. The Torah itself does not appear to decisively favor one side or the other. If nonetheless, there's a message that the Torah conveys, it's that a person need not adhere to one mode exclusively. After a period of excitement, there can be a period of calm. And the calm is not necessarily a descent. The point of Parshat Chaya is not that Abraham has grown old and can no longer do everything he used to do, wage war, circumcise himself, etc. What this teaches us is that there are different periods in life. The Torah does not present one mode of life as intrinsically preferable to the other. Rather, the Torah posits that the reality that people need to learn to conduct themselves in both modes, because there's no one single way to live in which one can find continuous and lasting success. On the one hand, we live in a world where each day presents new situations that have never been experienced before. On the other hand, this same world is also built on routine, and life is often characterized more by its trivialities than by its drama. Both modes are integral to the complete human being. Like the fires in Ezekiel's chariot vision, they move back and forth, right? Running and returning. Within each person's character. Man must be capable of great excitement, but he also must be prepared to live without it. There are periods in a person's life when he must move at a frenetic pace without stopping once to rest. Even when this frenzy of activity causes him pain and stress, he must not stop or he will fall. But there are other times when he must be passive and reactive rather than to take dynamic action or innovate. In order to straddle both modes, one must be able to maintain a state of constant flux, at certain times emulating a burning flame, and at other times remaining calm and tranquil. No more water. I'm serious. When I get serious. Okay. To some extent, the course of Jewish life forces us to follow this path of constant duality and change. Once a week on Shabbat, we're instructed to change the basic pace of our lives. Throughout the week, one is immersed in his work, whether it's physical labor or other work that involves pressure or stress. Once a week, a day arrives during which the whole essential structure must change. One moves from a state of constant activity and movement to the pattern of Shabbos, whose whole essence is that man becomes a vessel for the holiness of the day. He must sit still in peace and tranquility, calm and quiet. This is true back and forth, and one must develop the inner ability to operate in both of these modes. So here we're going to move into the next phase of our work. This section is called Exploit the Energy. The relationship between these two modes of life are diverse and multifaceted. Sometimes it's best to begin with a period of listening, study, and absorption, and only afterwards switch to a period of creativity and breaking through. Sometimes the proper order in the working process is precisely the opposite. First, one works at breaking things down and smashing them, so that afterward it will be possible to build new things. And sometimes it's precisely one who has experienced a period of calm and tranquility who feels a need to change gears and accelerate the pace of life. These two aspects present themselves in the various stages of a person's life. And one must learn to utilize them when opportunities for growth arise. Paradoxically, the perfect time to acquire Torah and good deeds is when one's evil inclination seems to be at its strongest. So when everything is most volatile, right? So I want to stop on this point for a second, just to address really tying in the classes together, because we have this incredible thing called our ratzon, right? And a child comes into the world needy, right? Needs to be taken care of and learns to express its needs and learns to develop the ratzon lekabel. Basically, that's childhood. I mean, there's more to it. It's cute and everything, but that's the underlying ratzon level of childhood. And then we come around to the age of bar bat mitzvah, which is, I think, what he's talking about here. And at this moment of the person has built to they're also very strong because they're young. B'ezrat Hashem, they have that fire and then so much energy. And they've built so much ratzon lekabel. And suddenly they get this new head, this new ability to be altruistic in potential. So they haven't really done it yet, probably hardly at all. It may be in certain environments, okay? But in general, if at all, definitely not all the way there, right? It's like it's a chiddush, and in this moment of it's very volatile. Like the person could go off strongly, right? They're full of ratzon lekabel. They're very good at it, right? Okay, and so it's paradoxically at this moment of it's so volatile. This is the time when one can ascend in spirituality and intimacy with God. If one does not exploit the natural energy that one has when young in order to run, then when he's older, it will become much more difficult for him. If one wants to engage in the service of God and this does not cause him to reach for the heavens, then perhaps he is not truly as young as he appears. If a person does not desire great things at a time in his life when he's naturally driven towards them, when will he desire them? Okay, so here is kind of where I came up with our project for today. And my idea is this. I'm going to pass out, your page is probably not quite dry yet. Okay, good. So it should be close. If it's not the end of the world. We're fine. But I'm going to pass out another piece of paper. Okay, so everyone should have another piece. Here, I'm going to pass this way, pass that way. Hopefully there's enough here for everyone. Okay. And, all right, we'll set this up in just a second. I'm going to explain what we're going to do. There's enough for everyone?
Yeah.
Gewalt, amazing. That's all. Okay, so getting us in the mood here. So one of the things, I'm just going to say one little thing about art, and then we're going to move into the next phase of what we're doing today. So we've talked about it before, but it's an important point to bring up. This the sense of self, the sense of pride or worthiness. It often gets in the way of a person being creative, right? We all know this. You come before, you want to do something creative, and you think, who am I to do it? I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to paint. That one's better than me. This was like, I think Picasso thought that, well, maybe not Picasso, but almost anyone. He probably even had moments, but he had moments, but most everyone else had even
And maybe
more.
I'll put this woman's eye over there because I'm not such a good artist anyway.
It explains it, right?
Right.
But really, there's this.
You know how to draw.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he broke the mold,
Yeah.
but not to get off subject. So but this idea of really coming to this place, like where, we're talking about ratzon here. So to ascend to our really higher level of ratzon, it's actually a little bit have to get over ourselves, right? This thing of ratzon lekabel, just to ratzon lekabel, if I'm so worried about what someone else is going to think about what I'm making, or even what I'm going to think about what I'm making, or anything, I'm already in my ego, right? And I also stop myself from doing. I just get frozen, right? That's what happens. Usually it's very often, and anyone who does a lot of art learns to overcome this again and again and again. And maybe it gets easier and maybe not. And maybe there's phases when it's easier and maybe there's phases where you can't do anything. You can't make anything because of the whatever it is that's stopping the person, which when it comes down to it, it's usually this kind of like ego challenge. On one hand, it's like, okay, not going further with that, fine. So part of, I've, thank God, in my life made lots and lots of art. I've been making art for 20 plus years. She was my witness. And also she encouraged me very much, and Reb Shlomo, so much encouragement to make art. And honestly, like in the world, who encourages people to make art? Like 1 in 100, like 1,000, maybe, like 50, maybe, like it's just not common. Maybe it's getting more common. You even have like the Hasidus that's doing it. It's Rachlin. So I'd love to look it up. It sounds amazing. But this really the way the world, it's like, okay, you do a hobby on the side, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Cute. Oh, cute. You're doing cute stuff. For a living. Yeah, and you're gonna do it for a living, like ha ha ha. It's like a joke. Like you're just you're out of it. You don't know what's up.
That's what I got from my father.
So
it's because he doesn't have a straight need, like food, like work, like clothes, like
right.
Something else.
So exactly. And so but the thing is that what you're pointing out is actually really on point with what we need to talk about here, is that really we think it's not a straight need, but really the tachlis of the creation is to get to Matzav Gimel, where we actually realize ourselves. We become our authentic true selves, where our ratzon is in line with Hashem's ratzon, and we can fully desire and let it flow through us and give.
What I said before about we want to resemble our shoresh, so Hashem is creative with anything.
Exactly.
So we have a natural creative need to express ourselves creatively.
Perfect, beautiful. And one of my favorite lines on this point, it comes up all the time, I might have brought it up before, is that we say in the morning prayers, we say Hashem mechadesh b'kol yom tamid maseh breshit. That Hashem, we know it's a concept that creation is always, but that line, it really gets it, right? Hashem is making new the works of creation always, constantly, all the time. And we say this in the morning when we start our day, every day. And it's something to really sit and contemplate, actually, like take a few minutes and think about that. And while you're thinking about it, Hashem is doing it. And he's even doing it to your mind and your room and the chair you're sitting on and everything, right? And to tap into that a little bit and to remember we're the anaf and Hashem is the shoresh, that we have that also. It's a gift that we're given to have this piece of Hashem in us, and this expressive quality that is very much stopped by the workings of the world, this like ego challenge that we have. It's actually very divine. It's very holy.
I see it. Like, I think people have a need to see art. I was an artist.
And it's
a great need to see something new.
Yeah, and it's so nourishing. Yeah. Also, just to see colors, like these are discussions that can go on and be very deep. Actually, they're very important stuff. Actually, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our beautiful picture of Ratzonot. And we're going to rip it up into pieces.
Oh, come on. I finally did something that I like.
Okay, so let's take a picture of it before you rip it up. If you love it, take a picture.
Can somebody take a picture for Sheva?
Yeah. Everyone can take a picture. It's fine.
I'll take
Yeah, take
really
everyone.
Beautiful.
Okay, so somebody on that side take this side, and somebody from this side take that side.
Okay, look here. Hold up your pictures. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, this is a pre. Okay,
but hold on, Mama has to hold up hers. She wasn't.
But it's not just about ripping up the paper. That's not the end of the story. Don't worry. The next phase is to rip up the paper, and then I give you another piece of paper, and you're going to rearrange your pieces, make little pieces. I don't know, whatever pieces work. Rearrange your pieces into some type of form that I've been thinking, like in my mind,
same one or something else,
whatever comes to you, but something new, because sometimes we need to break down something. I mean, actually always things break, whether or not we get involved and break things down on purpose, they're going to break down. And then the question is, what are you going to do with it? And the truth is that surah, this idea of shivyon surah, So a human being who's stuck in being finite with this piece of infinity in them has to constantly try to rearrange their tzura
Turn the ani
towards,
to ein.
yeah, exactly. Turn the me,
What is the phrase?
Resembling the creator. To have
Right.
a similarity of form.
What did you say?
Similarity of form. Shivyon tzura.
No,
from the ani
the
to ein.
Ah.
Okay, so it's from a,
Take
it's
the
like,
ego
right.
to bitul.
and then,
From ani
and
to
so
ein.
that's perfect for this moment,
Yes,
actually,
yeah,
to rip it up. And then not only
Yeah,
that, we're still here. We want our
Feel it all day. Think that
yeah.
ani that just wants to hold on
And
to.
also the ritzonot, the kabel of child or whatever. So let it go. Rip it. It's so freeing. It feels great.
Yeah.
Okay, so go for it.
Right.
And make the pieces not too tiny. You don't want to be like stuck here all day. But make them nice pieces.
Whoever took pictures, just share it on the Sheva site, and then I send it to the publicity person. We actually have a publicity person.
Wow, amazing. Okay.
What do I do if I can do my hair?
You can still do it. Just keep the wet side up. Is it super wet?
Well, I'm trying to take up some water, but it's gonna ruin the.
Okay, so wait. Just wait. It's okay. Give it a couple more minutes. Okay, so there's glue. And I made these little like tab things so we could pass around little like things of glue so you can reassemble your pieces. I'm gonna send these around and you can, let's see, do I have to open something in here? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought to say something. I thought, you know what? I'll just bring it, whatever. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some glue and some tabs that you can use to like, pick it up and wipe it on the bottoms of your pages. Here's some glue. And here's some tabs. There's more glue. You can use these to just kind of like wipe it if you want. Here, pass down more glue so you guys can start freely gluing. It's really freeing to,
This is
Tear
like
paper.
very much matzav bet. This chaos,
Right.
this chaotic.
right?
We went from matzav aleph to matzav bet.
Okay,
6,000 years, yes?
Yeah.
there you go. And little tabs if you want to like kind of wipe the glue, that'll maybe help. Okay, 1 second, over here.
You don't have tabbing,
Here.
like tablet?
There's more. Yeah. Okay, do we need more glue out there? New tabs?
I can share, we can share.
Here, here.
I'll send
No,
it.
there's plenty. We can use it. Should I send more glue? You guys don't have?
I think we're gonna use it.
Okay, I'll keep filling up glue. I'm happy to do it. I'll use my what's on that Rashbia glue.
Yeah, we're gonna be using one of it. We're gonna need.
Yeah, go for it. Use the glue. Feel free. I know, right? Here. Okay, tell me when you need more glue. I'll just refill it. And we get another
Yeah,
song for this.
For sure. The paper's thick. It takes a lot of things.
Yeah, there's more. Got Shefa glue.
Open up my mind. Open up my Open up all your gates, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, let me in. Open up all your gates, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, let me in. Open up, open up, I've been searching
What?
for so
There's
long.
more.
When we reach a city wall, when I
Should I send another one down?
eyes to the heavens above,
Yeah.
Madonna.
Stone walls, dancing pavements, that's a place, the evening sky, as if the heavens came down, make the joy sing. Open up, open up, open up all the gates of Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, that is. Open up all your gates, Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, let in. Open up, open up, taking a walk through our ancient city streets.
Anyone else need more glue?
About half hour.
Righteous, the whole contemplating his name, drawing light from his highest abode. Well, if I could only tell you just what it was, but I can watch the trees. Well, the word of holiness is heard all around, and the song of his
Who are we listening to?
Whose time does it?
well, if
Oh,
I
right,
could
okay,
only
now
tell
see
you
it, now here. Who was that? Fine David.
Fine.
Fine David.
well, the word of holiness was heard all around, and
You do remember time does it. Right, you were saying. Oh my gosh. The well-ripened, right?
This is my anniversary today, and I have a big thank you.
So can you share with us?
Rachlin, I'm not, I'm Muslim,
No, I
I'm
understand.
Jewish, but
Can you
this woman told me about the Rachlin, she has a beautiful place in the Bet Alliance. You know the parking on Davidka? There is a huge old building, by the way, in a year it's going to be huge hotel over there. But she has an exhibition, her name is Yama, and she's making a lot of exhibition for artists and
You
stuff.
can look her up. Roughly.
Rachlin, yeah. And she gave me this book about the art. You can ask her. It's a free, like a little book, little sentences, very, very deep.
Her name is Amma.
Yama.
Yama.
Yeah. Yama, yes.
Can we see your piece before you go?
So now, exactly when you said about it, I saw, instead of see a path, I saw a ghoul. And I saw, it's not beautiful, but I wanted to cry when I saw this. You know why? Because I see that Hashem sees us trying so much to get from one to understand.
Nice.
Just, and this is like a baby, it's like a baby who makes his first step and is trying to get somewhere, and then finally we can see like a round of the Ratzon, a round.
Amazing.
Should I bring this to my husband?
Yeah, it can be his gift. He'll love it.
Thank you.
Great to
It
meet
was a
you. We'll
big
see you
honor for me
soon.
to be
He's a
here
kid.
today.
Hope to see you
We'll
again.
see you again.
Join you
Baruch
again.
Hashem. Good,
Nice to meet you.
good. Mazel tov.
She was at my wedding and she taught me how to be a woman.
Wow. You're like,
You.
She said you were at her wedding and you taught her to be a woman.
And
And you looked for who she was talking about. So, okay, is anybody else the point they're ready to share? If you want to hold up or share your piece. Wow, ooh, beautiful.
This
Wow.
is
This is so nice.
This is, I'm not sure if it's the short long way or the long short way, but it's one of those.
Yeah, look this
looks
way.
like Bereshit.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
It was good in really both forms. That's
Yeah, thank you.
nice. Very nice.
Oh, having
Wow.
the before and after pictures, that would be nice.
Right? Yeah, it's cool. And if anyone else has reflections you want to share?
This will be so nice.
Maria. Wow, big.
What happened was that the first time I drew like a vessel, lights a vessel, like a literal jug. And the process was really interesting for me just because it was about, I wanted to draw something like a picture that was pouring blood. What came out was just something that was receiving.
Mm.
Then I was trying to make it look like, like shifted towards giving as well.
Wow.
Let me see.
But the thing that I didn't like about it was that it was so literal.
Mm.
It just looked like dead on the page. So
Right.
now when we cut it up, I like the fact that it's
It's very alive.
It's not, doesn't stick to the page, and
Right.
what's light, what's
So nice.
vessel. It's just
Can you
like
hold it up
a
again, Mary?
mix of different things.
Is it okay?
So I like the process because what I didn't like about there, just like the fact that it was literal. The thing that I like about this is it's not literal.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what it is. That I like about it. It's 3-dimensional. It's got energy.
Okay. Amazing. Thanks for
And it
sharing.
reflects your color scheme that you're wearing.
I didn't follow the directions.
Like, sorry, I couldn't rip up my beautiful picture. Nice.
So I just I took what the idea that you gave us, and I did something a little different with it because so it's my husband's birthday today, and he's just a remarkable person. And I was thinking about the calm and tranquil and ecstatic connection and the different dimensions of him and who he is and how that combines with my ratzon and so I just the center of him is like a burning fire in a beautiful way, but within structure, and
Wow.
that ratzon and the give and take. So I just wanted to.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. Amazing.
Hiding the light. Actually, what you did there is also tzimtzum. It's another way of looking at tzimtzum.
That's
Because
true, right? It's hiding it, and yet it's also
it's coming
at the center.
It's beautiful.
I have another suggestion. It's a difficult one, but it's just a suggestion. That when people show their outfit, don't say that it's beautiful. Just say what you notice about it, because once you say something's beautiful, it doesn't say what you see, and it kind of shuts down the conversation because it goes into an ego. It goes into the ego conversation of it's good, it's bad, it looks nice, I like it, I don't like it, as opposed to just saying what you notice about it. Then do you
Become
do you
more
know what I'm saying?
defined.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
it's like when a kid brings home a picture and you say it's beautiful, as opposed to saying, oh, I noticed you did this, or you
Right.
detail. It's
Right.
just a suggestion.
Right. Well, I find with art, any critique or response, or as soon as you start putting into words something that was like an expression that was not words, it's already like tzimtzum. It's already like limiting. There's only so much you can say with words, any words. So that's what it makes me think of what you're saying. But I get that. And I also think we should encourage each other. It's it's awesome that everyone's doing it. Thank you so much.
Let me see what you did.
Okay. Okay.
Now nobody wants to say that. Sorry.
It's intriguing me.
Yeah.
It's drawing me, it's activating my imagination, trying to figure things out, all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
So we have here the ratzon ekabel, which is more chaotic, and the ratzon hashpia, which is mostly blue, but there's a little dot of the ratzon ekabel.
Wow. Okay.
What's the space between them?
There's just space in between. You need space in between.
Wow. Wow, because it really if part of this whole thing, it's like part of the whole whatever we're working on in our life, as soon as you recognize it's a thing, you already know much more.
It's the pausing.
Yeah.
reflecting,
Yeah, like it's making a clarifying that this is this and that is that, even knowing that there is such a distinction, you're already on the path to clarifying where you are, where you want to go.
And that's I think that's self-development and therapy, if anyone's done it. It's just the biggest work, and you're just looking at yourself
Okay,
and just being what's happening, what am I feeling?
right,
I think that's 90% of the work actually.
it is, yeah, I agree. Wow. Okay, thanks for sharing. Very cool. Anybody else want to share or have any comments? To wrap it up?
share it.
Yay.
Okay.
Colors.
I love it. I love the vibrancy of the colors.
Yeah, very vibrant.
Yeah, it was like the permission to rip it up was very satisfying. Like that need to not hold on to,
Right.
something that you make and I didn't know what I was doing putting it together. And I didn't want to control so much what I, placing everything, it's like this, just so, it's like, it showed me my own process right now where it feels a little chaotic, but but there's a lot of good, coloring, good energy but the sense of accept the chaos,
Mhm,
except that things are broken and you're trying to put it back together and it still doesn't make sense.
mhm.
It's like,
Judy?
You want to share?
So far, I've had a colorful life. That has been really delightful and a lot of times torn apart. And had to start all over. And I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I just want to be so glad for it.
Your choice of colors express that.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
that why
please.
you mentioned the revolution? I mean, that told you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the kids are, it was the 65th anniversary of the Hungarian Revolution on Shabbos.
Wow. Your special day.
My special day. It changed my life to this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I started painting and I had like this corner of my page where it was just like flowing colors one to another and I had like these little streams. And like each of the streams had like some of the color from before and just like this idea of like the ebb and the flow of like of life.
can't see it.
Sorry, those little streams. And I didn't actually wet the page before. I just like put down drops of water and like moved the colored water with my brush. So let it flow. So let it flow like, and then sort of ran out of time and sort of was like, okay, I want to move on to something else. And I started with these swirls on the rest of my page that just sort of felt like, like there's the ebb and the flow, but then there's like the intentional movement that happens that we choose. That we choose to make certain moves in our life, certain choices that, whatever.
And we can direct the energy.
Exactly.
Nice.
And then I ripped it up and now it's just, like they're all part of each other. Like they're like the ebb and the flow of life, the way that life just moves in and of itself without us really like interfering, which is like the water just like streaming through the page. But then there's also like the conscious choices that we make to like redirect. And they're one and the same. Like they happen all in like one big
Wow.
pile of life.
Nice.
So that's
Wow. Wow.
um,
Nice. Really good reflections. Wow. That's so cool.
Okay. Do it to.
It's so dynamic when it's not flat on the page.
Yeah. Yeah, and this aspect that there's a few different levels of what we're doing with this class, but part of it is really to just free ourselves up to do things, because what you do in this class, we're like exercising. It's like an exercise. Maybe something like incredible will come out, or maybe you'll realize you can. Next time you pull out your paints at home or whatever, you're gonna. My hope would be that there's a bit more freedom to let yourself express yourself and also let yourself tear it up, if that makes sense, and make it into something else. I have moments where the best thing to do is to just I use them as like little greeting cards. Like my paintings that I don't love, I cut them into squares and I when people buy stuff from me in the gallery, if they want to write a note to someone, I give them like a little piece of a painting and they can write on it. So that it's like, you know, we can repurpose our ritzonot that they didn't really come out exactly how, you know, how we would have hoped.
Then bookmark.
Yeah. So yeah.
By the way, Rav Fink is on in 9 more minutes.
Yeah, so let's just switch over towards Rav Fink's class, and thank you everyone so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
B'simcha. Okay, I'm gonna end this. See you next time.